guys, how are you doing today? We are going to talk about comparing and ordering rational numbers. So who can tell me what a rational number is? It includes whole numbers, decimals, and fractions, right? And we have to compare fractions and decimals. Unfortunately, those are kind of different languages. So today we're going to talk about how to translate a fraction into a decimal so that we can put numbers that may be in different languages in order. So equivalent fractions and decimals. What we need to do if we're going to change a fraction to a decimal is find a decimal that equals the same thing as the fraction, right? We call those equivalent. What does equivalent mean? It means having the same value. So what decimal would be equivalent to 1/2? If you said 0.5, you are correct. Now let's look at some examples. We have 0.2, and we're going to compare it to 5/4. Is it greater than, is it less than, or is it equal to? Now, the way we're going to change a fraction into a decimal is by division. Remember how we talked about fractions just being a fancy way to write a division problem. So 5/4 is actually 5 divided by 4. And if you use your calculator or divide it out on paper, that gives you 1.25. So 0.2 is less than 1.25, or 5/4, because they mean the same thing. Next, we have 2.5. Is that greater than, less than, or equal to 14/6? So we're going to write it as a division problem, and we have 14 divided by 6, which equals 2.3. 2.5 is greater than 2.3, or 14/6. The last problem we're going to do here is 3.2. We're going to compare that to 16/5. 16/5 becomes 16 divided by 5, which equals 3.2. So they are equal. Now that we've translated these all into a language we can all understand, we can plot these numbers on a number line. And there they are. They're so pretty. Okay, so what does that mean? Are we just going to do 16,000 problems like these? No. We're going to apply those to potentially real-world situations. Here, we have a problem. 5 friends completed a triathlon that included a 3-mile run, a 12-mile bike ride, and a half-mile swim. To compare their running times, they created a table that shows the difference between each person's time and the average time, with negative numbers representing times less than the average. And here we have our table. I'll move my face so you can see the table. So we've got 1/2, 1.4, negative 1 1/4, negative 2, and 1.95. So we need to compare all those numbers and put them in order. So there are going to be 2 steps in this. Step 1, we're going to turn the fractions into the equivalent decimals. And fractions are division, so you're going to know how to do those problems. Step 2, we're going to use a number line to write all the decimals in order. That's pretty simple, right? Let's get started on this problem. Okay, so here I've written all the numbers, and what we're going to do is we're going to transform the 2 decimals we have, the 2 fractions we have into decimals so that we can compare these numbers. First, we're going to take 1/2, which becomes 1 divided by 2. That's 0. That becomes 1.0. 2 into 10 is 0.5. So we have 0.5 here. Then we have 1.4. And then we have 1 1/4. Oh, 1 1/4? It's negative 1 1/4. So we're going to have negative 1 point, because this is a whole, right? So we've got 1 whole and this part here is going to become our decimal. So 1/4. 1/4 is actually 1 divided by 4. So we're going to have 0 here. Bring down the 0. 4 into 10 is 2, which is 8, which gives us 2 down here. 4 into 20 is 5, so that's 0.25. But it's 1 1/4, so that's negative 1.25. This is negative 2, and this is negative 1.95. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to take these numbers and these answers that we just found out and plot them on a number line and bring it to class tomorrow.